Value thyself. This is a series for this month of September, and valuing yourself first allows you to understand and believe you are worthy of love, affection, and good things in life. Hi, this is Clarity Coach Lucy, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. It's been a while since we've been here on Instagram Live, and it's good to be here today. As I mentioned, this month, September, is the Value Thyself series. We have been going live on our Facebook channel, and we decided that this September to come back and meet you, my followers here on IG. And I thank you so much for being here with me. And I just would like us to just jump straight into this. So welcome to this episode, and this is episode 1. In episode 1, we're going to be talking about connecting with your inner self. Well, all around me, as I look outside, I see that there's a change. And the change that is happening seems to be one that is allowing for a true self or a true being or a true reality, an essence to come through. What am I talking about? I love to take my walks every day. I strive to. And as I have been walking for the last few days, I have noted that the trees are shedding their leaves. It's so beautiful. There's all these browns and golden colors that are coming out. And so as the trees are shedding their leaves, I got thinking. And I got thinking about the self. When do I get to shed my skin or to shed self to be able to be this person who understands who they are? Because I'm just thinking, and I could be so wrong. You could share with me here in the chat, in the live chat. I could be very wrong. But when I see the trees shedding their leaves, and I'm reminded that this happens every year, and before I know it, the trees have been laid bare by themselves, by this process, this amazing process. And then after a few months, I start to see new leaves coming. And the tree takes on a life of its own. It gets thicker, it gets denser. We don't see the leaves again falling, but now we actually see a lot of shade that is coming. So it's a process, and maybe I am just going off on my own thinkologies, if that is English, but it just draws my attention to the fact that this tree must be drawing from somewhere so that it can go through its different seasons. And as it goes through the different seasons, this tree then sheds its leaves, and at a certain time, it's able to get its leaves back. Amazing. So it is my hope that this month of September, as I bring you these series called Value Thyself, I'm going to take you through 4 specific episodes. And it is my hope that as I take you through these episodes, that you too will see where I'm coming from with the beauty of just shedding yourself and getting to know who you are. So what are the 4-part series or 4-part episodes that I'm going to be taking you through? Today is episode 1, and we're talking about connecting with your inner self, and a little bit of that more when we get to the session itself. And on part 2, we're going to be looking at be true to self. Sounds easy, right? But we'll be looking at that in episode 2. In episode 3, we're looking at focusing on the possibilities. That's an exciting one, and you don't want to miss that one. What does it mean to focus on possibilities for yourself? And then last but not least, episode 4, as we come to the end of the month of September, it'll be about celebrating your value. Something that we come to realize we don't do much of. In fact, we celebrate others, and we celebrate others by a yardstick that has been set up by society. So just like the trees, I invite you today to unveil yourself with me as we go ahead and figure out how we're going to connect to our inner selves. And the question is, do you know yourself? That's the question today here on Tuesday Talks at 3. It's great to see you here, Kavi. It's great to see you here, Alicia. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. And now we are back to IG Live for this month of September. And I do hope that you will be able to share with me your insights here on IG Live. And then perhaps even share with us on Facebook so that we know how we can improve our sessions, that we can be able to serve you, be of service to you. So let's start with that inner self. If we are to connect to the inner self, where is this inner self and where can we find it? Well, let's start with self, yeah? So self is your true identity. That is who you are. Thank you so much, Kavi. You say we learn ourselves every day. So true. So very true, Kavi. Great to have you here. And Jerry Maria, so good to see you. It's been a minute since you have joined us. Yes? Alicia you say that the inner self is within us. And this is very true. Thank you so much for sharing and engaging, guys. So the self is our true identity, the person that we are. But most of the time, we do not know who we are. And like we say, the question today is, do you know who you are? And it's a great place to start, and a place where we should not have any fear. Because think about it, when you've got friends or people that you hold very close and dear to your heart, you tend to want to get to know them. And then you've got these similarities that you want to play off and perhaps you want to explore. And therefore you enjoy each other's company. Now, you need to enjoy your own company. And how are you going to do that? You need to get to know yourself. So who are you? And why do you behave in a certain way? Well, this inner self refers to, number 1, your personality, number 2, your mind, and number 3, your character. And perhaps you could share with me here on the chat what else encompasses this inner self. So today I'm going to touch on these 3 just so that we can have a sense of understanding, an essence, so to speak, that will set the stage for us to move forward and connect with this inner self. So let's talk about personality. And you may ask, rightfully so, now how do I be able to identify or define personality when we've got mind and we've got character? How do we do this, Lucy? Well, your personality is that thing that you define yourself by. So how do you define yourself? And not anything material, not any achievements you've made in life. Or maybe an easier way is, if somebody was to describe you, what are those descriptive words that they would use? So would they say that, that fun person, what's their name? Yeah. That knowledgeable person, what's their name? That grumpy person, what's their name? That person who's negative, that pessimist, that person, what's their name? Now that's your personality. Your personality can either be positive or negative. But that's who you are. That is how you show up. That is how you present yourself. And people will either want you in a setup because of this personality or not want you in a setup, So who are you? Just take a moment there and just imagine, what is my personality? What it is that people will say that I am, Just let's think about that. Kavi, you say, I have a loud laugh. There you go. So when somebody is describing you, Kavi, they may say, that person with a loud laugh. Remember last week we were at this place and there was that person who had this loud laugh, Can you remember her name? That's your personality. And in your loud laugh, this is how you show up. So it's just amazing that this word personality can actually be, we can unpack it today and have a whole session on its own, but that's not what we're here for. Personality is just going to contribute to our topic today, which is connecting to your inner self. So we embrace this personality. That's who we are. And though I have pointed out that there are negative aspects of our personality, this is not something that we ignore. Welcome, Shana. Good to see you here. We're talking about connecting with your inner self, and we are on the episode of Value Thyself, September. We have a 4-part series. So when I'm talking about that dark side, that shadow side of yours, like I call it, it's that side that is not happy and, excited. It's the one that at times we want to hide from the rest of the world. And I encourage you not to hide this person or this personality, because you are a sum of all these things. And I know we're getting on to the three parts that I talked about, which is personality, which is your mind, and which is basically your character. But we're just unpacking personality for now, so we have a deeper understanding. Therefore, we will know what comprises our inner self. Yeah, you got that one so far? If you've got any comments, please just drop them here for me. So the negative side, the dark side, the shadow side, as I call it, if you have been following me, you have heard me speak about the shadow side. So your shadow side could be, I use this example a lot, and that is jealousy. Maybe that is what it is. Your shadow side is your jealousy. So jealousy is something that perhaps you do not want to show those people that you love. You don't want to show them that side of yours. Neither do you want at times to show people that you're meeting for the first time that you do have a jealous bone within you. But this is you, and you need to unpack why you have the jealous bone in your body and be able to deal with that jealousy. The challenge that we have in life is that we actually push and shove this under the rug. Now, the minute that we do that, we are not honoring who we are, because you need to name it so that you can tame it. If that's the first time you're hearing it, that is a very powerful statement. You need to name it so that you can tame it. And later on, you can stand before people and testify that jealousy used to drive me a lot, and these are the things that I did. And I have managed to exercise some kind of restraint or exercise some kind of control over the jealousy. I am still a person in progress, work in progress. The jealousy does visit me at times, but now I've got, coping mechanisms. That's the word. I've got coping mechanisms when I feel the jealousy rising to the top. You are human, and there's no perfect human being on this earth. He came, he left, he said he's coming back. He's not yet back. He lives within us. He's the only perfect guy, and you know who I'm talking about. His name is Jesus. But today we are talking about me, my person, myself. I am the human being. I am not perfect. So what do I do with that? I get to know that is my inner self. So I hope that has helped you understand a bit more about your personality, and that it is positive, it is negative. Great to see you here, Christine and Shanna. Welcome. Yes, I can see you're following me now. Thank you so much, Shanna. And then we've got your mind. Now, your mind is an amazing thing. Your heart may have this little thing it wants to do, but then your mind has got a totally different approach to life. And your mind comes in by ways of attitude, the attitude that you bring to the table, how you show up. Your mindset, you've heard so much about that mindset. And I love the abundance mindset. It's so powerful. But in the opposite is the scarcity mindset. And that can be a bit scary, because then you come to terms with how you respond to things. This is all about your mind. We can be facing challenges together. And today I would have this particular response to a challenge, and tomorrow I have a totally different response to a challenge because of where I am in my life at that point. So your mindset, your emotions, your attitude, these are ways that you can show up in front of people. And at times you wonder, what happened there, Lucy? Last week I was in the same kind of situation, but I reacted differently. My trigger was different. And today, I'm in the same situation, I'm acting differently. I know better, Lucy. Yes, you do know better, but you're a human being. And this is your inner self. When you begin to understand why you act in a certain way, why you respond in a certain way, the two words emotional intelligence then come to play. So your inner self needs to understand who you are. So at the end of the day, you know under what circumstances you would respond in a specific way. And this might sound a bit far-fetched, but you just think of it. If you are a driver There are days that you are driving and you're so distracted, and you will do certain things on the road as simple as not turning on your indicator. And then you just take that sharp right or sharp left. But in your mind, automatically, in autopilot, you thought that you would put your indicator. And the drivers behind you, around you, start hooting. And you're thinking, what was that? Why are guys hooting at me? Guys, seriously? Didn't you see I was turning this way? And then hindsight is 20/20. You then realize you didn't put on your indicator. And you have a conversation with self. Now shift this to another day. There's a driver in front of you, does not put on their indicator. You are in your element and you're driving, you're getting to a certain place, and this person takes a sharp right or a sharp left, and perhaps you use profanities. Perhaps you're like, don't you have any manners on the road? And perhaps you get into road rage. This is the same kind of situation. We've changed perspectives. Now it's you. The shoe is on the other foot. How do you react? Our responses are all dependent on our mindset in the moment, our emotions in the moment, our attitude. But we can also learn how to tame them. So if we do know that at times we get distracted because of something that we're listening to on the radio, or a call came through, I hope you're wearing your headsets or your earphones when you're taking up your call, or you have the surround system in your vehicle, so that you are making sure that you are safe on the road and other people are also safe on the road. That your reactions at that point will be about you being a courteous driver. So that is on the mind and what the mind can do to you. So we've talked personality, we've talked about mind. You've got any questions, just drop them into the chat. Thirdly, but not last, is your character. So what builds up your character? Your character is built up through your beliefs. It's built up through your morals, your core values. Do you know what they are? Have you taken a moment? Have you figured out that they are yours? Or perhaps they belong to somebody that you look up to. I always use the core value of consistency. I am consistent in what I do, to the point that if I do not carry something out with consistency, I feel that I'm not aligned to my values. I feel off. And when I feel off, things don't work for me. But then I realize those feelings. When I begin to feel off, I know there's a value somewhere that I have compromised, that I have not honored, something like that. So for me, those are my triggers. What are your triggers? This is how I know who I am. So if I was to describe myself to you, well, you need to get me separately and we can discuss that. I would describe myself using my personality, my mind. I'd use my characteristics, because that kind of describes who I am. Now, once you take care of that inside, the outside will work itself out. Once you take care of the inside, the outside will work out. Compassion, how it made ... feel. True, compassion is definitely a core value right there, Licia. And compassion is important for you. And the minute that you do not exercise compassion, you will feel that you're not aligned. And that kind of feeling can lead to so many other things. You know yourself, what it does for you. So you want to be able to get to a point where you're connecting with that inner self of compassion. And only you will know how to do that. It works differently for everybody. So, like we're saying, taking care of the inside will also make the outside take care of itself. It's as simple as that, because you will manifest your inside through your outward behavior. So let us explore this inner self further. And let's imagine the various ways that we can work on our inner self. We've already talked about identifying those areas of our life, our personality, talking about our mind and our character. But also, we have to see what we ingest or digest. What is it that we are watching? What does that do to us? Does it put us in a peaceful state of mind? Does it give us a lot of angst? Does it get us annoyed? Does it make us doubtful? I know there was a session that I would love. When I was going through a very difficult time in my life, I discovered, what do I call it? I discovered a theater where people were able to stand up and speak and tell their true life stories. It's called Engage, for those of you who know. So in that tough and dark time of my life, I wanted to laugh. I knew that laughter was my medicine. So what did I do? Every 2 months, because it was done every 2 months, I would go for Engage and I would sit in a corner. In fact, it was literally the darkest part of the room. So even when the lights went on for us to go into a recess or a 10-minute break, nobody saw me, because I came there for one thing, for laughter. And when I left, I would make sure the last speaker was talking, and as they were finishing, I knew how the music was going to come in. I walked out. And therefore, I never interacted with anybody, because I came there for one thing. And that laughter really helped me. Yes, Engage. Nice to see you here, Nancy. Great to see you. Yes, so today, as we're looking at what is it that we're ingesting, I was ingesting laughter to be able to fill my heart in that dark time, so that when I was communicating and showing up where people were, for self also, I was showing up filled with this laughter. I didn't let that darkness drown me. It's very possible to do that. Food also. What do we eat? It's very important what we put into our bodies, because then our bodies then, they actually, they manifest by way of the quality of skin. They manifest quality of hair. They manifest in my healthiness. Am I able to fight off colds, common colds? All this is because of the things that I eat, building up onto my inner self. Attitude of gratitude. For those of you who follow me, you know I'm big on an attitude of gratitude, because without that attitude, then, you feel entitled. You feel everything should be given to you for free. That, you don't need to sit down and say, thank you. You don't need to sit down and say, wow, I am blessed. So that attitude of gratitude is amazing. That's another thing that is able to power your inside. Exercise, like I said, I love to walk, and I have noticed that the trees in my area of living are actually shedding their leaves. And that is where I got this particular series from, Valuing Thyself. That is where I got that idea from. And then being present. Have you ever noticed that when people are sitting together, most of them are on their phones and they're busy communicating with other things or other people who are not in this present here, and therefore you miss what people say, you miss the essence of the conversation, you miss the the fellowship of being together, you miss being in the room. Exactly. You need to stop and smell the roses when you are in the present. You need to stop and smell that coffee when you're in the present. So next time when you're with a group of people, put your phone aside, put it away, and enjoy the present. This is what fuels your inner self. So we've got quite a few things there. The question still remains, who are you, and do you know who you are? By now, you've already figured out that there's some things you need to start doing, there's some things you need to stop doing, and there's some things that you need to continue doing, because most probably you are already doing the right things, and you are here today just to learn a little bit more. What else can I do so that I can know myself? So you may ask me, what is the importance? What is the importance of this valuing yourself? Well, it's so important to value yourself because believing in your value is a crucial element of living a life where you feel good about yourself. Like I was talking about, when I feel I'm not aligned with my values. So then I don't feel good about myself at that point. I don't know how it works for you, but this is how it works for me. So when I value myself, and that means I stay aligned to my core values, I feel like I'm feeling good. That's what I want to say. I feel good about myself. And this is not as a result of anything outside here. Not because of the people I hang out with. Not because of the environment I'm in. It's the way I'm showing up. I show up valuing myself. And you know what I have found out? When you show up valuing yourself, people value you more because of what you're bringing to the table. And when you are valued more, you can actually see how people are responding to the confidence that you have in yourself, which is just amazing, something that we must strive to do. You want to become connected to your inner being, to your desires, so to speak. So what are your desires? What do you want to achieve in life? And what do you need to achieve? And it's not about money. It's not about education. It's about understanding your inner self. Because we may not get to choose our circumstances, or we can choose our responses. Now, when you know how it is that you respond, and you can decide that response, is it good? Does it serve you? Does it need a bit of tweaking, changing? Do I want to try out a different response? And just see what happens and how it makes you feel. When you come home in the evening and you lay down in your bed, how do you feel? When you've had an engagement with somebody and you leave them, how do you feel? You see, you're left with your own feelings and your thoughts. So you want to be able to build up on them. So your true identity is something deeper and more eternal than your fluctuating circumstances. I want you to remember that. Your circumstances are fluctuating, but your true identity evolves. Yes, it takes that much longer to evolve, but in the present, this is who you are. This is your identity. You're not defined by other things, but by your identity, your personality. You're defined by your mind and by your character. So no matter what is going around you or in the world, you need to make time to connect with yourself. What is happening today more and more is that people are not connecting with self. They are choosing to conform to the world. And therefore, when you find that that role model of yours suddenly crashes and doesn't seem to be following through on what they subscribe to, then you feel lost. You don't have a foundation. Why? Because you are conforming to a role model. It is one thing to admire a personality, a characteristic of somebody. It's another thing to say that I'm going to be like that and just copy and paste. You need to work on your inner self to be true, because that's what we say. Your true identity is something deeper within you. So by now you've realized, guys, it's not about the material things that you have. It's not about the achievement. And I use this example all the time. If you are lying on your deathbed today, you're not going to look at the material things that you amassed in life. You're going to question yourself. Did I do this right by somebody, right by myself? You start looking at your values. You start wanting to call people to your bed and ask for forgiveness. You start wanting to preach about, guys, I didn't do this right. You want to be able to stay connected with your friends. Or love, forgive. These are the things you start talking about. You don't talk about, I have so much in my bank account, please bring it here and may I be buried with it. That's not what comes to mind. So the question today is, do you know who you are? And I'm hoping that the examples I'm giving you as we come to the end of our session are examples that you can connect with your inner self. Nancy, you say, yes, we are defined by our behavior. Very true. Because the way you behave is the way I am going to perceive that you are who you are. It is said that when somebody shows you their behavior or their true self, believe them the first time, because it is their behavior then that is coming through. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we might be talking about our pasts, and you will hear me say that yesterday is gone. It's gone. It's behind you, and it cannot be reclaimed. The only thing that can be reclaimed about yesterday is the lessons that have been learned. And for you to give honor to yesterday, you want to apply those lessons today. Like I said, nobody is perfect. So how many times have you failed, made mistakes, gone down the wrong path? It's okay. That's a learning experience. You know, the test comes in how you are applying these learnings. Again, Your behavior is the manifestation of your inner self. So if you do not take any learnings from the past, then you're just going on. My mother used to say, like a broken record. You're just going on and saying, oh, this is what used to happen to me. Oh, that is who I used to be. Oh, that's how it was in my day, back in the day. That is back in the day. So can we pick some learnings and move forward with it? Like my daughter would say, let's keep it moving. Yeah. So take a moment now and write down what your life was up to this moment. Here you have a chance now to write about your past and put down a word or a sentence, whatever comes through. Now your past could have been 5 minutes ago. It could be yesterday, it could be last week, it could be 10 years ago. Let's just have some fun and just write it down. For you with smartphones, just put it down on your smartphone. Write what your life was up until this moment. There you go, Alicia. It's good to see you, Anne. Yeah, great to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're talking about connecting with your inner self, and now we are trying to see how the past can actually positively impact our future through the lessons learned. And with our lessons learned, the best way is to apply those lessons so that we can only get better and keep it moving forward. So as you've written down whatever it is you've put down, take a moment and notice who you are, or what kind of person your behavior manifested when you look at that past. What is it that you have done to get to this kind of definition of what has happened in the past? What emotions are you experiencing when this one word comes up? And what are the challenges that you have faced? These are very important questions that you must ask yourself so that you can honor the past. Give the past a narrative, lest you forget. Make sure that that narrative now is going to be used moving forward as a lesson. Let it not define you as a failure. Let it define you by you having fallen so many times but gotten up plus one time. Let it define you as that person who is taking the risk and trusting and having faith in your tomorrow. Let it define you as a person who is building on your mental wellness. Let the past do that for you. Now that is the past. And you heard me. That is the past. Use it for its worth. And now I want us to go into the future. And I want you to take this exercise every day and just figure out for yourself, what do I want so that I can be in the moment of here and now, because the here and now is the only thing that we are guaranteed. Even that future you're not guaranteed, but the here and now, we are here together. We don't know what's going to happen in the next few seconds. We only have hope that we are equipped to handle the next few seconds and the next few days. So I do hope that you are able to come up with a story for yourself, which was your past, that you're going to use for your present here and now to build up on your future. You may ask me then, Lucy, how does it connect to your inner self? Well, I want you to consider this very moment as a beginning of your day, of your life, of your mission, of your assignment, of that thing that you want to do. Because for you to be able to be present in the future, you need to do some things today. What are they for you? Well, if you're going to speak my language, I start with gratitude. Be grateful for what you have today. Pray over it and ask that it is kept with you. That attitude of gratitude. And then find out what you want to accomplish. How will you go about accomplishing it? And how do you plan on honoring yourself as you continue on this journey? Because this journey of life is beautiful. It is not an event, guys. It's a journey. And therefore there will be ups and downs. There will be depression. There will be times when you are ecstatic and so happy. You are winning and no one can touch you as far as you're concerned. Then there will be days when you are in the dungeons of emotions. Embrace it all, because life is a journey. See it for what it is. What am I learning? How do I evolve? Yeah? So in that connection, that person now that you're thinking of and the plans that you have, is it somebody that you would want to hang out with? Is it a buddy that you would like to call up and have a conversation with, or say, let's have a tea, a coffee, let's have a drink? That inner self, is it filling up the cup of that individual that you want to hang out with? I love my company, and my family will tell you that. I so love my company. Doesn't mean that at times I don't love self. There are times when I question and I doubt myself, but I don't stay for long in that darkness, because I do have tools that help me to come out of it, and I'm grateful. And my family is there for me. So I will say it again like I have said before. Valuing yourself first allows you to understand and believe you are worthy of love, affection, and good things in life. And that is what we're looking at in these episodes that we are going through. Today, I have taken you through connecting with your inner self. Nancy, you say the attitude of contentment. Beautiful. The attitude of contentment. To stay in that moment and being content with what you have. Thank you so much, Anne Mokami, for joining us and for being able to engage with us. Guys, as we come to the end of our session today, I definitely have takeaways for you. Takeaways on the question that we asked earlier on, do you know who you are? And therefore giving you 3 tips on how to be able to embrace who you are. And the first thing is connect with your inner self. I think I have covered that adequately, and that you have some reflection to do and to try it out until we meet next week in our next episode. The second thing is write your own story, your narrative. That narrative of yours that is going to drive you forward. Ensure that you remember the past is the past, but the lessons that come with the past are profound. They do not define you. They do not define you. Many a times you would find somebody say that I'm a drunk, or I was a drunk, or I struggle with being a drunk. It doesn't define you. You can work through it. It is what your mind tells you, what mindset you are in, with that definition that you have given yourself. And the way you show up, your behavior will tell us that yes, you were a drunk. And today you are working towards this new person that you are. Whatever addiction that you are struggling with right now, whether it is addiction of pornography, whether it is addiction of stealing, whether it is addiction of things that are very, they're not pleasing to God, whether it is an addiction of talking badly, an addiction of abuse, whatever it is, that is what happened 5 minutes ago. It is your past. You are in control, so write your story. Don't give up on yourself. Give yourself the hope and the faith, and you will see the changes that will happen in your inner self, and will be manifested as a behavior. Last but not least, embrace that you are unique and you do not need to fit in. Thank you so much for being with me today. And now, as we come to the end of the session, I would just like to share with you the great things that are happening here at LMC Consultancy. Next week, we are looking at our episode, which is being true to self, and you don't want to miss that. However, the exciting things that are happening are my 3 giveaways, and I'm just going to read them out to you. Buy my book and get 2 coaching sessions valued at 10,000 shillings for free. So buy my book. If you've bought my book, you should already be talking to me right now, because what you want to do is book yourself for 2 free coaching sessions valued at 10,000 shillings. Or you could sign up for my online self-paced courses and get a coaching session free worth 5,000 shillings. So if you've already signed up, you know yourself. If you've signed up, you need to be direct messaging me so that I can send you the promo code so that you can be able to get a free coaching session and you can book it. Or you could book your 3-pack coaching session. This is so popular that we sold out 2 weeks ago. So right now I have a few spaces remaining for the 3-pack coaching session. You want to book and pay, and I will be able to give you a promo code for you to get your free online self-paced course. Thank you so much, guys. Make sure that you join onto my YouTube channel, lmcconsultancy.com, for the recording of this particular session on connecting with your inner self. You don't want to forget that. So please, let us help build one another. I love it. Anne, you have said good one. Lucy, thank you so much. Kavi, you finish off with, thanks Lucy, we are fearfully, I beg your pardon, and wonderfully made. Very true. And Alicia, can we gift someone? Yes, you can gift someone. If you know you've bought a book and you're not available to be coached, although we must have a discussion why you're not ready to be coached. If you're not ready to be coached, you can gift somebody, and that is your attitude of gratitude. Michelle Semo, we are just coming to the end. You will catch the recording of this session hopefully on our YouTube channel, lmcconsultancy.com. Until our next session, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.